Hey, everybody. Welcome to The Experience, live with Russ and Scott.
Welcome to The Experience, live with Russ and Scott.
Special thank you to our sponsors, the Gillette Home team of Keller Williams and Lori Gillette. For more information on their real estate services, go to teamgillette.com. And welcome to our new sponsor, Boson Hub. For all your digital marketing needs, whether it's SEO and content management or Google Ads, go to bosonhub.com.
Hey.
Good morning. Woohoo. Here we are live on The Experience, live with Russ and Scott.
Indeed.
I am here in Oregon and Scott is there in Phoenix. Arizona.
I'm in Phoenix.
Right.
I was up early this morning, got to watch a beautiful sunrise over the Arizona desert. It's just fabulous to be here.
Yeah, that's great. Well, you know what? I got to be honest with you, even with the fact that we got a little rain last night and I was out taking my walk this morning with Maddie, my dog, and it was raining on us a little bit, but I love it. I love Oregon. I love the cool, crisp, and a little bit of moisture is good. Unlike one of our guests who is in a heat wave down in LA right now.
Yeah.
So whatever, suits your fancy. My son loves that. I'm not for that. So, hey, Scott, what's going on in your world today?
Well, I tell you, I am down here in Phoenix at a small business expo, but the main reason that I came here was to meet face-to-face, live and in person for the first time ever, two people that I've been working with for a couple of years on the Business Builder Throwdown, and that is Holly Jean Jackson and Matt Rouse. And it's just fabulous to be able to see them. So we all came in last night. We're able to hang out here in the room and just chat and as my buddy Brian Fanzo says, social media turns handshakes into hugs, and so it was just a fabulous evening.
Well, hopefully we'll see them jump into the show this morning. I know you're going to see Russ Johns as well, and I have tagged all of them so they know that we are on live. But whether you see them on the show or not, it's going to be awesome that you get a chance to meet with them. And it's one thing that we love doing. We were talking to Shri before we came on live here. We have the Experience Backstage, which is on Instagram with our good friend Shri out of Houston, Texas. And I was able to link up Shri with our good friend Cami Hoyza out of Houston. They've met up, they've done things together. And you and I both got to meet her recently when she flew into Portland.
Yeah, when Cami was up there.
Yeah, I just love being able to, this is all about extending connections in life from the experience on digital media like this or live streaming to the experience live, as Scott would call it, or Christine would call it, in 3D, right?
In 3D, absolutely, yeah. Just and that's so much fun. And I encourage people, whenever you get out, let people know that you're going to be someplace. So if you're
That's
coming
right.
to Oregon, anywhere in Oregon, let Russ and I know, because we would love to get together with you. And when we're out, so here I am in San Diego, in Phoenix, hoping to get to San Diego. No, in Phoenix, hoping to connect up with folks. But when I was in San Diego, being able to meet up live with folks there, like Jackie Bernardi and other people. And then, it was a couple of weeks ago, down in Nevada. And anyway,
You're
you
all
got to
over the
find those
place. Well,
opportunities to meet people face to
that's right.
face.
And don't forget that you could go to russhedge.com or dscottsmith.com to connect with us. All of that information will magically appear in the comments. It's also in the show notes, as is our guest information today. But the reason I say that to you is because whether we come to your area or you come to our area, if you are in the I-5 corridor in the Salem, Oregon area, you're close to Scott and I both. And I've had David Alto, I've had Bruce, the guy in the blue shirt. I've had all kinds of people come through recently that I've been able to meet with. So reach out to us. And when we're in your area, we'll reach out to you. But that's all about the experience of life. And
that's the deal.
yes. And I just want to remind you, speaking of the experience of life, we are here every Wednesday at 7 a.m. Pacific Daylight Time on the Experience Live with Russ and Scott. And before that, like I told you, we're on Instagram Live at the Experience Backstage. Today, you got to experience me walking through the dark to the bathroom quietly to grab my ears in the bathroom. And so,
yeah, just to get the ears, just so people know exactly what happened there. You got to watch me make coffee and the view off of the deck here. So truly a backstage thing. But hey, we have got some great guests today.
Oh, that's right. Guess we do have other people, don't we?
We have got
we have
David
Diana
Osk
Londoño and we have David Osk with us
Dr.
today. And we're
Londoño.
super excited about that. I think, Scott, let's just jump in right
Let's
away
do
and
it.
get this party started. Yeah.
They're much more exciting than us.
Yes, that's probably true. Yeah. So Diana Londoño has become an amazing friend. I'm able to not only call her friend, but we work together. She is amazing. I'm going to let her tell you all about her. But I have finally got how to not only pronounce her name, Londoño, but also how to get the little squiggly right above the N on her name. So I'm finally getting all that together.
Yes.
Yeah. That's it. It takes a little work, but here we're just going to bring Diana in this morning. Good morning, Diana.
Hello. Good morning. Good morning. How are you?
Oh, we are so good. If I don't have enough energy in the morning, I know I can always get it from you.
Yeah, I was doing a little move to your song. I hadn't heard your song, so I was like, I like it. I like it.
It's good. Yeah.
There you go.
I liked it. It was good. It was a good song.
Well, we're glad you like that. That is all the music, as we tell everybody, is written, produced by my son, who is a writer, musician, and mastering specialist down in your area, down in LA. And so he does all that. So Diana, I know how amazing you are and all the things you're doing. Give our viewers a little snapshot on who you really are.
Well, thank you for having me. This is fun. I like the 7 a.m. Slots or, early in the morning. But yeah, I'm Diana Londoño. I'm a urologist in Los Angeles. I'm also the founder of something called physiciancoachsupport.com. It's a free and confidential platform for any physician to come to get support from a colleague, a peer who is also a certified life coach. So if you know or don't know, burnout is real in every industry, but it's really especially pretty terrible in medicine. More than 60% plus of all physicians are burned out, which is not great if you are a patient, and we're all patients, right? I know you were telling me about what's going on with your foot and different things. And when you go to the doctor, you kind of really want them to be present, listening, really paying attention to you, compassionate. And when you're burned out, it's really impossible to be that because your cup is really empty. So you cannot listen. You cannot be compassionate. You cannot, spend a little extra time to comfort you when you're scared and when you're worried. And that's really what happens when you're at the doctor. Because again, I'm a patient as well. So when you go, whether it's a small thing, a large thing, a baby, cancer, whatever, you want, a little compassion and love. And again, if you're burned out, is really challenging. So we're really there to help any physician confidentially if they want to talk about anything. It could be like a feeling imposter, they're feeling overwhelmed, they're feeling they need to decide something about parenting. It's really all go to really support somebody, again, as peers, because I think we can rise together, we can help each other, and it's not going to come from the outside. It has to come from within as physicians to rise. So I'm the founder of that. I also, really to promote the message of, self-care, well-being, boundaries. We have this podcast that you're producing, Supernova Sisters, Physicians in Motion, every other Tuesday at 7:30, with Nupi Aurora, my Supernova sister. So it's really about talking more about the message, really giving some tools to help others. How do you do this? Like, how do you get out of the burnout molasses and really rise and ascend and get to a better place? So that's what I'm up to. I'm really excited about all of it. I hope you check it out, because we really got to get out of this mess and, be in a better place. And I think we really can. We really, really can.
Yeah, speaking
it's
of
so
Nupi,
important.
there she is, jumping in the show and saying hi. Yeah. Okay, Scott, go ahead.
It's Diana. I love that you have got this set up for physicians, and it's so necessary in every industry, because especially here in America, we love to try to do things on our own. We celebrate the maverick, right? The person that just goes out and does this all by themselves without any help. But that's not really the truth of it. And it often comes up here on the experience, the need for coaching. You need to have that input from outside, whether it's an individual coach or whether you're in a group mastermind. You need to have that support. Otherwise, you do end up in burnout.
Yeah, it's so important. I mean, all the C-suites, all the athletes, all the people on TV, all these big names, Oprah, everybody, they have coaches, and not just one coach. You have a business coach, a lifestyle coach, a spiritual coach. I mean, we have all kinds of coaches. And I think in medicine, we've been slow to embrace it. And it's really important because it gets you from point A to point B, kind of holding your hand, but guiding you. And, to get to that other place you want to be in. And yeah, you can't do it alone. And sometimes you need a therapist, and sometimes you need a coach and a mentor and a friend and the whole village. We're not islands, in any industry. We're all connected. I mean, this is what this, podcast streaming is about connecting, about saying we're not alone. You and I have the same thing, whether you're in one industry or another. We have a human experience. So it's really about that, like understanding we're not alone. We are connected in many ways. And when we understand our connections and we're not different, yes, we're unique, but we're not different, then it's like this beautiful experience happens because we acknowledge that soul, that person in front of us. And it's really beautiful. And we start getting rid of the fears and the ego, and we say, we are alike. I see you. And that's really important. I think that's a lovely thing to do in this podcast, or all the things that you're doing to connect everybody.
Yeah. I think it is true. I am a true believer that we are better together. And I think what's interesting that you bring up is that a lot of people don't realize the stress and the strain that doctors are under, and, that whole burnout issue. And a lot of times, I can say currently dealing with doctors and doing different stuff, it is sometimes you feel like they're not paying attention to you or things aren't happening. And a lot of it is because I think what they're going through.
Absolutely.
And, it's interesting. We call this a mastermind experience because when you bring minds together, great things happen. Our next guest, David Osk, is amazing in the mastermind field of all that he's doing. Good morning, David. How are you doing?
What's up, guys?
Hey, good to see you.
Hey, thanks for having me.
You're so welcome. Hey, it is great to have you here this morning, and we appreciate you so much. Give everybody a little snapshot into who you are.
Man, what's funny is that question of who. I absolutely love that question, and quite often we tell people what we do, right? So on a very a practical level, right? I'm kind of a passionate creative, so I love creating anything from books to music, and lately thermostat covers.
Well,
so yeah, go ahead.
Keep going.
So what's interesting is my trajectory in life really early on was really centered around the whole creativity thing. But I had a really wide skill set with regards to music and really being an entrepreneur. I didn't realize that until maybe later in life. But one of the things that I am really excited about lately is being kind of the who, understanding the who that I am, and leaning in that creativity space. It gets pretty exciting. It's funny. So Diana, first of all, thanks, or I'm honored to be on here with you, and really to one of the things that you were talking about with regards to helping doctors and burnout and so on. One of the ventures that I'm I guess really passionate about lately is Dr. Andy Garrett and I, who Scott knows, are actually running a course that he created and helping people to identify, why is it that they're burned out, and helping them identify, authenticity and core values and things like that, so they're operating from a more of a true space. So the deeper internal who, as opposed to a what, right? It's am I a human being or a human doing? Yep. And anyway, so to answer your question on a practical level, right? I've got a product in 3,000 retail stores. So my main book of business, if you will, to pay for the Osk family here, is I sell a thermostat cover with a combination lock. And so we're in Home Depot and Lowe's and several other places, and I'm growing that business. So you can, of course, visit my website there at statguardplus.com and davidosk.com and see some of the various irons that I've got in the fire. But in general, I love this topic of who.
Yeah, that's like, that gets me all excited. I don't want to interrupt because I have that tendency, but it's so true. I mean, they always ask, who are you? And then you say your roles and these fancy diplomas, and those are just roles and they're temporary. But you alluded to like that spiritual question, which I see all the stuff in the back, which is so important: inspiration, God, wisdom. I mean, yes, really for me, burnout was a spiritual crisis. And I've written about that, and I've talked about being a spiritual crisis, and it really was. And we could talk about the surface level stressors that, have been studied, of too many tasks and we're not respected, blah, blah, blah. That's true. Yes. But you have to really dig deeper to get into the who am I, like that, existential question, who are you? Which is like a pure, loving, joyful soul. Like that's really a truth. And then to really get out of the molasses of these lower really vibrations of like anger, despair, guilt that we like lay in, that leads to depression and burn and all that. To rise, it really has to be spirituality, not religion, spirituality, really connecting to that deeper question of who you are and start really elevating that energy. And so how do you do that? And you kind of mentioned it, and it's like about passion. You tap into the passion, that creativity. It's 2020, because if you're stressed, you cannot be creative. But when you're creative, you get out of stress. But you got to tap into, what is your passion? What lights you up? Is it music? Is it movement? Is it, working on that motorcycle? What is your passion? Connecting people. And when you tap into that, you look into that, you're like excited for the day. You're excited for 7 a.m., 6 a.m. Instagram, because you're like, let's do this. This gets me up in the morning. And the more you do that, the higher you like rise to a different state. Instead of, yoga is important. I do yoga too, but not yoga as opposed as the asanas. It's about the whole bringing your mind, your body, your spirit all together into an alignment, an authenticity. Mm-hmm. So I love that you brought that up. It's so beautiful.
Yeah, go ahead.
I was going to say what I love that, because so in my first book, Motivational Listener, Be Interesting by Being Interested, and it's how you connect with people. And one of the steps in there is taking people on a conversational journey, and you discover how they got to where they are today, right? What were the steps that brought them where they are? And one of the key things is really not to find out what they do, because I say that's a result, right? And I say, oh, David, what do you do? Oh, I sell this product, or I lead this group. It's like, yeah, that's what you do. But what you really want to do is then define what's the motivation, right? And so a better question to ask is to say, hey, David Osk, tell me, What's your motivation?
Man, it's such a great question. And, you know, one of the things that I think I had a really poor understanding of authenticity and identity for many, many years. You know, the word authenticity comes from the word author. And I think some of the bubbles that maybe needed to be popped in my mind were this idea that, you know, well, I'll spin it this way, right? I did not create me. I didn't choose my eye color. I didn't choose my taste buds. In fact, I didn't choose my personality. What's really wonderful is those of us who have children, you know full well they come out of the gate very hardwired, very different people. So what's beautiful about, you know, the word authenticity, you know, especially, you know, when I obviously believe in a higher power as a Christian, I believe that God authored something very, very unique in each of us. So what's fascinating is when you identify, right, those bedrock truths that, you know, Scott, like what you said, right? It's the why. It's like the thing, the convictions, the most powerful, precious, courageous things that you stand on, and the lens at which you see life and make decisions. When you identify those things, right, that's your identity. It's a bit more practical than we think it is. Authorship and then identifying those things that are very intrinsic to me, those things that give me goosebumps. I like to say the things that give my goosebumps. And so one of the things that I think is fascinating is I think that, and Diana, I went through that phase of burnout a while back, and I think I realized that it wasn't necessarily that I did not like what I was doing. I just had not assigned meaning to what I was doing. I think I was desperate to become someone, you know, to not be a failure, that kind of thing, or at least not be a nobody. You know, really an extrinsic motivator, as opposed to an intrinsic motivation of when I'm doing anything. I don't care if I'm at the gas station, if I'm creating products for Home Depot and Lowe's, or I'm singing, you know, at the Nashville Symphony. What dent, right? We hear it all the time, the dent in the universe. What impact? What is the David Osk shaped impact that's different from you guys, right? Well, guess what? Now that I've identified those things in my life that are so precious and powerful and courageous to me, I know full well, and I get excited even talking about this, that one of my favorite words in life is inspiration.
Yes.
What does that mean? It means to breathe life into. So whether I'm talking with you or, you know, I'm at the grocery store, not that we have to, right, do anything, but we get to have a powerful and beautiful impact on people. And what's really lovely about that is when we act in alignment with those things that are absolutely bedrock of who we are, those things that we've assigned meaning to, well, then it just feels good to be me, right? You see your dent and it reinforces your values that you're standing on. And it's like that clean fuel. Dr. Andy actually calls that the virtuous loop. It's the clean fuel for living. You've identified those things that are bedrock, you act in alignment, and it feels great, and it reinforces your identity, your authenticity. And I'm just really passionate about that.
Well, I couldn't agree with you more, David. And before I continue on with my comment, Diana, we got a little bit of echo coming from your end. So just giving you FYI, but wanted to say, David, that, I mean, of course, I think a lot of us here in this room believe in a higher power. I believe God has directed our steps. And when we have that foundation in our life and our identity, and we have those core values, that helps us to move forward. That's why I love this conversation, because we are all so much alike. Even though we're in different industries doing different things, we have so many similarities, focusing on what is really important in life, and that why, or the purpose of your life, I speak to people about all day long. In my program, you know, the Successfully Transform Your Business in 3 Simple Steps, the number one thing is connect to self. It's all about self-care. It's all about building the foundation, your core value of who you are, why you get up in the morning. Because unless you identify that, unless you have things reconciled in your own life, you can't move forward and help other people and do things. And so, Diana, I think that, you know, you are doing amazing things in medicine, an area that a lot of people just think doctors have it all together, but you're helping them realizing they're people too.
Yeah, we're humans. I mean, we have this false belief within medicine, and it's expected that we're perfect. And then it's crazy pants. Like, we're not perfect. I mean, even I had a patient, I was on call and I was covering for, everybody, and a prescription was sent to the wrong pharmacy by somebody else. They call me like, and they're yelling at me in the morning saying like, how could this happen? And, yelling. And I'm like, excuse me, like, slow down. I hear you, sir. I understand your anger. That's why you're yelling. But first of all, it's Saturday morning, so chill down. No, but really, like, it's Saturday morning. I'm trying to help you. We are not perfect. I am sorry this happened. If it happened to me, I would be upset too. But I'm trying to help you. I'm going to fix the situation. But it happened because we're not perfect. I wish we were. And in medicine, the stakes are always higher in everything we do. It's not just in medicine, in life. But you and I are not perfect. And unless you've been perfect your whole life, you have to give grace and compassion and love and know that we try and we're not perfect. So it's like getting rid of that. But I know in medicine, we always expect that. It's impossible. And it really damages us as physicians, when we get these like stones thrown at us, like, why are you not perfect? Because we're human. We are human beings. And yeah, of course, we're always thought we're doers and like, what is our accomplishments? And, it's just like, it's important to realize like we are human beings. We have emotions, but we're taught not to show them. We're taught to be robots. I'm not a robot. Like, I cry with my patients. I get sad. I get excited. I mean, I'm a human being. Like, I have emotions, but we're taught to be stoic, to not show emotion, to be perfect. And then that leads to like imposter syndrome, depression, anxiety, because it's not like humanly possible to do that. So I think people have to give a lot of compassion and grace that we also have struggles. We also have kids. We also have mortgages. We have debt, 400,000. Most physicians have that. You think that we're some rich thing. Yes, maybe so. We have big salaries, but we also went to school forever and our debt is really, really high. Numbers that nobody has seen, 400,000, 500,000 in debt. That's really heavy. So then you're stuck in a job that you don't want to speak up or say things like, this is not right to say 50 patients a day. This isn't a core value to take care of you in 2 minutes, but you can't speak up because you get scared that you may not have a job. We get very fearful. And with fear, we all know if we act from fear or anger or hate, like the outcome is never good. But when we act from love, it's very different, so then we have to think about your core values. Like you said, Raz, like, what is your core value? It has to be love, and love for you, love for your patients. And then you speak up from that place, and it's very different as well. So, there's a lot of great points in this conversation. I mean, we could probably
I love your vulnerability right there. I had a conversation at church on Sunday with a heart surgeon at Vanderbilt. He's just, a friend of mine at church. And of course, quite often, and this is a bit of a realization even right now as you're talking, right? We look at doctors as being a bit bulletproof. Mm-hmm. And so I walked up to Paul, I'm like, and I was expecting him to say, man, I'm fine, I'm doing great, right? And, I said, how are you doing? And he stopped and he goes, I've got 6 kids and life is hard right now. I've got 6 teenagers. Mm-hmm. And he just shared really deeply. And quite often, I think you're in such a unique spot, like physicians, right? The great physician, where we just have that mindset that physicians are bulletproof and they're helping everybody. But the fact that you are one, right? And then you're in the trench with people is a really, really powerful thing. A physician helping physicians. And I want to applaud you for that. That's powerful.
Well, thank you. Yeah, we gotta, like I said, help is not gonna come externally. The lifeboat is not coming to rescue us. And I really think we have to do it from within. Just like if we do it from ourselves first, then you have to be well first to help others. And that's another huge thing that physicians don't understand, that we always give. And we're so running on empty because we don't take care of ourselves. We don't spend the time to connect to our truths, like you said, Russ, to our core values, to replenish our energy, to sleep, to eat. We just like last. We eat in 2 minutes. We don't sleep. We're always taking care of everybody outside of business hours. And like, that's not correct. We have to set some boundaries because boundaries come out of love, not out of anything else. Boundaries are a sign of love for you and for others. So we have to learn these skills we were not taught. They're, more important than learning how to do some complex surgery. Take care of yourself is so important.
Yeah. Well, it's amazing conversation that I wish we could go on for another hour. We're going to have to schedule a part 2 with you two because this is such a great conversation. It's so needed. And what you said, David, being vulnerable and being willing to step out, like Diana was talking about, in a field where people think that doctors are perfect. You find that a lot in ministry also. Everybody thinks the pastor has got it all together, and pastors are people too, having problems and things like everybody else. So definitely a conversation we need to continue. But for today, we're going to wrap things up, and we're going to have you both give us your last words, what you want people to take away from today, and then how people get in touch with you. And Diana, let's start with you.
Oh yeah, girls go first. Yay! So thank you, Russ. So yes, you can connect with me obviously on LinkedIn. You can go to my website, dianalondoñomd.com. I have a lot of articles. I'm in a lot of podcasts. I write, I speak. But connect with me there. You could also go, if you're a physician or you want to share with a physician friend, it's called physiciancoachsupport.com. So again, it's free, confidential. Why not? Please take care of yourself. Take one step on your journey for doing something for you. So I want to let you know you matter. You're worthy of a life of joy, of enthusiasm, of excitement, like kind of what brought you to medicine. Hopefully, remember that. Like, you got to remember your truth, and you do not have to be in the molasses of overwhelm, despair, anxiety, like hopelessness. That's not where your truth is. So take care of you. We'll help you at least with the first step. There's a lot of resources there on the website too for other programs that maybe fit your cup of tea better. But please get support. So thank you, Russ and Scott, for this opportunity, and for meeting David. I really appreciate it. Thank you.
All right, you bet. Great having you. And David, you are up next.
One of the things that I like to tell people is that I am for you, no strings attached. Like I said, I'm a passionate creative in so many ways, but one of the things that I'm most passionate about is validating what I see in other people as, their bedrock. And if you feel like you're struggling in that area, if you feel like, why do I get up in the morning? When I walk into a room, if I've got that big question mark over my head or in my heart, I would love to walk with you. On a very practical level, of course, I got different irons in the fire. So I want to invite you to visit davidosk.com. But just, with the parting thought that I'm for you, no strings attached. And I just love to help people. So let me know.
That's amazing. That's amazing. That's the reason we are all such good friends, and appreciate you guys so much, because such a similar mindset in life, coming from so different of areas and different parts of the country and different occupations. But you know what? We're all people. We all have needs. We all need to just find that why or that purpose and that who. I love that. You talked about that who are we really? Where are we launching from, right? Where are we launching? No matter what we're in, where are we launching our life from? So, hey, listen, Scott and I are going to say goodbye to you two for today. I will definitely.
Such a pleasure.
I'm telling everybody right now, we're scheduling part 2 in the green room after the show. So hang tight, you two.
Thank you. I love your microwave, Scott, and your wood.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
I had to say it.
Boy.
Say I didn't.
All right. We'll see you guys. All right. Bye-bye.
Wow.
Oh.
I tell you, every week, but today is something really special. I just think that to have Dr. Diana and David on the program today has been such an inspiration. As David Osk says, because he has his aspirations, right? So that he shares out. But I'm watching the comments go by, and I'm just thinking, what a beautiful experience this has been.
Yeah. Well, and I love what you say there, because I always talk how blessed we are and how amazing it is, the people that we get to call friends and have on the show. But I love what you say. It's just a beautiful conversation. I mean, this was such a real, and as David brought up, very authentic and vulnerable conversation. Diana sharing some things that really, I mean, there's certain people in certain occupations, doctors are one, like I said, pastors, I think, are one, that people think they have everything together. People think they're there to serve them, and they don't think about the fact they're people too, and they have real needs and real things going on. So I think that was so amazing. And we are definitely, I'm telling you, Part 2 is coming.
We'll get it.
Part 2
We'll
is
get
coming.
it. Yeah, absolutely.
So,
And
Scott,
David mentioned Dr. Andy Garrett.
yes,
He's been a guest before, and he's
definitely.
actually pretty close to Dr. Diana there. He's in Newport Beach, California. His office is actually at Fashion Island, so they're very
Andy
close
is
together.
amazing. Yeah,
he's
Andy is
fabulous.
amazing. And he's been on our show here. He's been on my
Mhm.
shows. He's just an amazing individual. And I agree with that 100%. So Diana and Andy are going to have to link up down there in that area. So, but hey, Scott, as we wind up, what do you have going on this week?
Yeah, so I'm here in Phoenix at the Business Expo. So anybody that is in the Phoenix area, I'll be here until Friday morning, and then I'm going to go up and visit my uncle in Sedona, Arizona, and then fly out on Sunday. But if you're in the area, I would love to be able to connect up. And then, of course, we have a joint book, Freeze in Action in the Face of Business Crisis, that is now for pre-order on Amazon, and that's a book that I'm writing jointly with Veronica Jeans, and that's going to be a lot of fun. She's in Houston. I will be flying back on Sunday. She's going to be flying out of Houston to go to Namibia, where she was born.
Wow.
And so she'll fly from Houston to Germany, and Germany to South Africa, and South Africa up to Namibia. So worldwide
Amazing.
Collaboration. Yeah.
World
And
travelers.
what have you got going on?
Oh my goodness. There's so many things happening right now. It's just amazing. I will be releasing again what I talked about, my Successfully Transforming Business in 3 Simple Steps workshop again in October. I have so many great things going on locally with great people. I've been busy here working with new clients and new things in the area. And I am on every week, Monday and Thursday. I'm Marketing with Russ, aka #RussSelfie, and Thursdays at 4 p.m. Pacific Daylight Time on Russ Reels Live. So lots of live streaming going on. I'm blessed to have people like Diana and Noopy that I'm working with, producing live streams as well. So if anybody's interested in talking to me about that, go to russhedge.com. Love to connect with you, even just like David said, even if it is just to have a great conversation and validate all the amazing things in your life. I love people. I love connecting with people. So I would love to meet up with you, russhedge.com. And I just thank you. I thank each one of you. Scott?
Well, I just want to put out a plug for Masterminds, because that's actually where I met David Osk. He leads our group in the Iron Sharpens Iron Mastermind. Dr. Andy Garrett is in there. And as we often repeat here on The Experience, the quote from Jim Rohn, that we are the sum of the 5 people that we spend the most time with. Like Russ Hedge, I get to hang out with Russ Hedge on The Experience, in our mastermind, in the backstage, and anytime we can go to a Beaver football game together, or have coffee or lunch, or
That's
meet
right.
up with folks. But
Oregon State
encourage people.
graduates.
Absolutely. I encourage people to find a group and be a part of that. Get in contact with David, get in contact with Diana, because again, we are the sum of the people that we spend the most time with.
That's right.
And find the people who lift you up, and that you will lift them up as well.
Right. Well, with that note, we're going to wrap things up for the day. So we appreciate you all being here. Remember, we're here at 7 a.m. Pacific Daylight Time every Wednesday on The Experience Live with Russ and Scott. Also, we have The Experience Backstage, 6:30 a.m. on Instagram. We get so excited about that.
I was wondering when Kermit was going to make his appearance today.
He was excited too. So until we see you guys again, have a great day and a great life. Talk to you later and enjoy
The Experience.
Thanks for tuning in to The Experience Live with Russ and Scott. If you enjoyed today's show, please share it with others, post about it on social media, or subscribe on YouTube. See you next time.